Welcome back to the Bernard Lee Poker Show. We are very fortunate to have our guest this week who not only started the premier poker apparel company, but also now is the two-time reigning mid-stakes poker tour from the Global Poker Awards. The Run Good Poker Series claimed that for 2018 and 2019 as the mid-major tour / circuit of the year. Welcome to the show, Tana Karn. Tana, thanks for joining us here on the Bernard Lee Poker Show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bernie. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
I appreciate it. It's been a long time since we've hung out as, oh my gosh, it was, how many years in a row that we saw each other on a regular basis, whether it was, for those watching on YouTube, at one of these stops behind me for the Run Good Poker Series, or just business with the Run Good, obviously at the World Series as well. But the world of poker is coming back, and it is such good news that the Run Good Poker Series will be coming back as well. There will be multiple events coming up in 2021 in June in San Diego, June 8th to the 13th, and Council Bluffs, Iowa, June 22nd through the 27th. Tunica, Mississippi, July 6th and the 11th. And more dates will be announced shortly. Before we get to all that great news, I really wanted to spend a little time, and I really want to spend the time to talk about the history of Run Good, because really it is one of those poker success stories that has really come out of over the last decade, and not only as a poker apparel company, but as a tour, and a lot of your charitable initiatives as well, and really kind of developed probably not the plan that you started with, but really has developed into this conglomerate. And it's been really very impressive and a lot of fun for me to watch the ride along the way. Can I tell my listeners, and some people may have heard the story, but always great to hear it again, kind of tell my listeners how it started literally kind of on the back of a napkin, right?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's funny. I've told the story a couple times, and it's like any tall tale. Details get exaggerated, and there's some ads, and like there's some more adjectives of what was going on at the time, and the cliff notes, I guess, of it. And I know you probably don't want to me be on the show for 3 hours, but there is so much crazy history behind where it came from, where we've been, what has gone on, where we are at now. Um, you know, Winning two best mid-major awards with the Global Poker Awards definitely did not happen overnight by any means. And when we started, this thing was 2012. It was a napkin at a bar, grabbing beers. I think 2012 was just like not right after, but near the start of that Black Friday, where online poker kind of closed down. And I had a lot of friends and people who played online and played poker or learned about poker through that. And you also had just a lot of people that all of a sudden just this access to poker just wasn't readily available. And I also remember the joking of like, a lot of us guys had the Full Tilt Poker KO shirts and bounty shirts, and right. I think I had like a Full Tilt Poker robe. I mean, I'll hand it to them. Despite their handling of money, their handling of getting swag out there was quite impressive. Right. Because I would always remember going out to like any home game or going to even just hang out with a bunch of poker friends. At least somebody had something full tilt on, or at least somebody had like a patch on their backpack, or a hat, or a shirt. You name it. They put their logo on pretty much everything under the sun.
Right.
But no, it was that's kind of where it started. We 2012 printed some shirts. Decided, it's a funny thing in the poker industry, and I don't know why it took so long, but a lot of the clothes that people would get me as like gifts kind of during that time, and just like my interest in playing cards, like people really didn't understand what poker was. It was starting to become mainstream, but wasn't fully basically fully embraced yet. And I'd get shirts from, it would always be something about a shark, or it would be always something about, a pair of balls, or, something like, it's just like any dad joke parody
Yeah.
you can think of would be in my Christmas gift stocking, or my birthday present box. And it was, at some point I was just like, enough's enough. And of course, it always happens after a couple beers and a napkin. And we started writing some ideas and decided that, hey, let's start a clothing company. And this is something that I kind of did briefly at my time in college. Not necessarily saying paying the bills by flipping shirts, but I had some experience with how it worked, and just kind of understanding, there is a definitely clear cut way to get shirts made very cheaply, and there's a really good way to make shirts made with quality inexpensively. And when I say that, I'm sure being in the sports industry, or not the sports industry, but like going to activities like running and things like that, and even golf events. Like, I remember getting Gildan shirts that were so scratchy, they made me look like I weighed 20 pounds overweight, and my arms were like little twigs, and it looked like I was wearing a tunic. I don't know. I just remember always those shirts growing up, and I was like, man, somebody's got to do something better. And, we ended up deciding to do it for poker. And there was that just opening where everyone just never took poker seriously. And it was one of those times where we're like, how do we become the next DC, the next Quicksilver? Like, we want to be, this, what Quicksilver is the surfing, DC is the
Right.
skateboarding. We want to be that for poker. And so we decided to come out with the RunGood brand. And it was honestly, and I say this a lot in some of my speeches if you look on YouTube, but it really was me with a backpack full of shirts.
Right.
Just going out to the World Series of Poker, handing them out to people, getting the name out there. I mean, there was no raising of money, or what do you call it? There was no round of funds or
Financing. Yeah.
financing, or there wasn't we never went, we never had an IPO or whatever. It was just literally some guy, some kid. I think I was like 22, 23 at the time. Just going out there with probably $1,000 worth of shirts and a backpack, a couple boxes in my hotel room. Just playing events and getting to know people in the industry. And one of the things is, I came from a sports background. So I used to work for the Los Angeles Clippers in the NBA, and then I transferred over to the WNBA and helped jumpstart a franchise. And a lot of the stuff they teach you there is it's not about winning or losing. I mean, obviously winning is awesome, right? I mean, we both love winning. You go to a Celtics game, I'm sure you've been to one.
100%. I'm a season ticket holder for almost 25 years.
I mean, it's nothing is better than a buzzer beater or just stomping the competition.
Or in 2008, being on the floor when we won the championship. There's nothing better. I mean,
there you
absolutely
go.
Nothing. Right.
There you go. Exactly. But at the same time, I'm sure you also remember when you guys were like 2-11 for the starting out for the season, and it was like,
sure.
This team is not going anywhere. We're going to go ahead and just chop it up. We're going to call it a rebuilding year. But I think what's most important is the experience you had, and the fact that you got to share that with your daughter or your son or your wife or your friends. And that's something that is basically, you can't put a price on. And that's the same thing that we wanted to do with the RunGood Poker Series. When we got approached back in 2014, after the clothing kind of took off, and I got a call from a poker manager down in Downstream Casino here in Oklahoma, and hey, we've seen your clothes out there in Vegas, and a couple of our players, and we talked about you just being here in Oklahoma. Like, would you want to headline a poker series for us? And next thing you know, I'm calling everyone that I had met during the summer, and who I've kept in touch with and had a beer with and gave a shirt to. And that is what really kind of brought everything together for our first stop, which was crazy to think about. Like, at the time, we weren't an MSPT or a WPT or a WSOP. We were just some clothing company that I just kind of knew people that I met through poker and through handing out shirts and a backpack. And lo and behold, we blew it out of the water. We had I think 100K guarantee over it, and it was double that. Poker News came out, and they didn't. I don't think they even covered it. They just kind of wrote up some articles about it. But it really was, that was like the turning point of, you
You
get
had a
enough people
great,
to
you
come
had a
out.
great inaugural champion too. I
Oh,
mean,
that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Bernie. Yeah, you did. You did have one. I
that
do
was me,
remember that
by the
right up.
way.
I was so tired. I was so tired after that tournament. I mean, I'll tell you, man, when you host one of these things,
Oh,
I
absolutely.
I need to start learning, and I call this the lawyer Malloy trick. And of course, I'm sure a lot of your Boston listeners probably know who lawyer Malloy
Yeah,
is.
I actually know him well. He's done a lot of the charity events for us for the One Step Closer Foundation, so I actually do know him personally.
Great guy, really
Yeah.
awesome, really awesome dude. He taught me this cool trick, because when I was going out to these Run Good Poker Series stops, as a host, and just talking to players and talking to ambassadors and just making sure everyone had a good time, similar to making sure like everyone has a good time at the basketball game, is there's a lot of drinking. There's a lot of people that want to buy you drinks. There's a lot of people that want to take a shot with you. They want to, hey, come out to the bar real quick, or like on break, like, hey, let's go, sweat this slot machine and grab a beer. And one thing I learned in the industry is, like, whenever somebody says, I want to grab a beer with you, just go ahead and do it. Like, what do you have to lose, right? You get a free beer out of it, and then you maybe meet someone who you have no idea could take you or introduce you to someone that could blow everything up for you. And that's kind of exactly what that mentality was when we got into downstream and had that huge event. It was kind of like a snowball effect that at least was locally. So we got into Hard Rock Tulsa next, and then after that, we went out to Vegas again back in 2015, and I remember busting out to Vanessa Selps and first level of a 1500 bracelet event, just completely just crushed. Like, it was, I think I hit a set of nines on the turn, and that completed the flush. She checked, I checked, and then on the river, river was a complete blank, and she ripped. And then I was like, well, in my head, I'm like, well, she checked. Why would she check the flush there? And lo and behold, she had it. So, anyways, long story short is I went back to the Palms, and I remember walking by a pike out table, and I decided to sit down and basically blow off some steam. And there was a gentleman there who was like, hey man, like, do you want a beer? The server's over here. I'm like, yeah, I'll grab a beer. Next thing you know, we're like 7 beers deep. We're probably, I don't know, I hope we were winning. I don't really recall. But all I know is that gentleman was named Andrew Brock, and he was a poker room manager at
There you go.
Horseshoe Council Bluffs.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, Horseshoe Council Bluffs was our third stop ever, and our first time to ever make it into a Caesars property,
That's right.
which is kind of a big deal, because Caesars pretty guarded with their own branding with WSOP. But we were able to, I went up there and just hit it off with the AGM there, which was Samir Mawad. And next thing you know, we have a tour stop there, and we blow it out of the water. And the thing with that is, in corporate structures, word travels fast when good stuff happens. So
When good things happen, word travels fast. Or
exactly.
really bad things happen, I guess. So,
No, yeah, very true. But
yeah.
we're lucky enough that then it kind of trickled into the Harris KC, trickled into Horseshoe Bossier City, Horseshoe Tunica, and then of course once we started getting more and more stops, then all of a sudden we get calls from San Diego, we're getting calls from Sacramento, we're getting calls in Florida. So anyways, I kind of went off tangent there, but when you get more tour stops and you have this philosophy where you always have to accept a beer or a drink, you get hungover a lot. And and Lawyer Malloy taught me this trick. I was lucky enough to win a package through the One Step Closer Foundation event, and I
That's
got to go to
right.
Seattle.
That's
And I
right.
watched a football game with him, and we hung
Yeah.
out. And we did the whole pregame. We went to like all these tailgate parties. It was a blast. But I remember him pouring. I remember like everyone would come up to him and be like, "Hey man, let's take a shot." I got and he was like a tequila guy, and he'd be like, "Yeah, let's take a shot. Yeah, that'd be awesome." And then like it was me and Justin Gardner, and they'd pour us like this 2 4-ounce thick shot of tequila, and we're just like, okay, this is gonna be a long night. So, you know, we both threw it back and like, we're like, okay, next one. And then we go to another party. And then of course, another guy runs up to Laura and was like, hey man, let's all take a shot. And he's like, hey, you want a shot? And we're like, okay, yeah, why not? Anyways, after like the third tailgate, you know, we're already 5 tequila shots deep and we're like, we're not going to make it to the game. And we're like, lawyer, man, like, bro, you got to keep in mind, you're like 20x our size. Like we're not going to be able to keep up with you. And he's like, oh man, I didn't even tell you guys. So, and then he basically like looked at us straight in the eye and he was like, look, man, you're going to get a lot of shots tonight, but you don't have to drink them all. Just do what I do. Just follow up with I do when I take a shot. And so the next tailgate party we go to, you know, they pour us the shots. We're about to take it, and he like winks at me, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, watch him a little bit closer. And what he'll do, he'll like basically, he'll take the shot, and then he'll just like turn real quick, just like super sly, while the other guy's trying to finish his shot too. And he'll just do like a little, just spit it out on the ground or spit it out in the nearest trash can, and then he'd be like, that was a great shot. Next one. You know, and I was like, oh my God, that's how he does it. So here he is. And we're like, you know, normally if we were drinking all the shots, we'd been like 20 shots deep, but I don't think he drank. He probably only drank like 1 or 2 the entire night. And that was the Lawyer Malloy trick I picked up from him for hosting tailgates and events. So I took that to heart. Not saying that if you do buy me a shot or a beer at the RunGood stop, I will go ahead and spit it out. But I've learned to pace myself, and I've also learned to when you see me carrying a beer around the stop, it is most likely very warm because it is my beer that is probably going to carry me the rest of the night. And I'll do shots, but I probably won't drink any beer outside of that.
It'll protect you, because if somebody says you want to be like, oh no, I got one.
Exactly.
I'm good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's skill game. So
the other way to do is a lot of these beers are dark colored, right? Like, so it's not, if you have a Corona, it's different. But if you have like other beers that like the bottle's brown, so when you finish it, you put water in it.
Oh,
who's gonna know, right? And so you're just, and obviously water is, you know, it's going to help you in that situation. So that's definitely another one of those tricks where you finish the beer and then just put water in. You're like, oh, I'm good. I mean, no one's going to drink your beer, right? And be like, oh, let me see if that's water, kind of thing, you know.
True. But nowadays, like, I mean, I'm over 30, you know, I'm a little bit older, I'm a little bit more wiser. So I've come to realize that I don't need to be my 20-year-old self and take every shot and take every beer. I still enjoy talking to everyone. Don't get me wrong. If you want to talk to me at a tour stop, I will talk to you forever. I enjoy banter and small talk and understanding what's going on in everyone's lives and all the players. And some people have some really cool stories. And I think that's another thing that's really kind of been awesome about the tour, and where we've come from and how we've grown to being that, you know, double award winner tour, is that I just get to meet some of the coolest people that come out to play poker, that you never know in a million years what they do and who they know and what they're about. And it's crazy. Like I've met GMs, I've met marketing directors, I've met you know, obviously small business owners, bank managers. I mean, you name it, anything under the sun. Like if I ever got in a pinch, which I have, you know, obviously because of the COVID and quarantine, you know, there are people out there that would help me get me through it. And I think that's something really cool about poker is once you're in it, it's a small community that's very tight knit. And you know, everyone, despite the fact that the game is very cutthroat and you're trying to win all the money on the other side of the table, off the felt, there's a lot more camaraderie and friendship that not many people realize. And that's kind of what really brings people continually back to this game, is not so much the same way as, it's not so much if the Celtics are going to win that night. It's about going to the game, going to the event and having the time of your life, seeing people you haven't seen in a while, catching up, letting loose for a little bit, obviously playing some cards, tossing some chips around. But at the end of the day, you know, win or lose, you're leaving, you know, with new memories and saying that was an awesome time.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, give yourself a lot of credit. I have talked with a lot of people. Obviously, I'm heavily involved in the media, and for you to be named, or for the tour to be named mid-major tour, circuit of the year, 2 years in a row. I accidentally said you, but it is that. It is that because yes, one of the great things that you do is we have a lot of the ambassadors come in. We're all using our social media to really kind of get this hype up, which was such a great idea. But so many people talk about how you are walking around, and a lot of the tours, you don't see the face of the company around. They may be there, they may be in the corner working, you know, this is no discredit to the WSOP circuit. There is no such thing as that. There is no owner walking around, but you're always there. You're always around. You're either giving a shot to somebody or talking with somebody or whatever it may be. And that brings that family aspect. And I think a lot of the ambassadors as well, I'll speak highly of my teammates, they are really good. As the bounty event, everyone's all jovial and gung-ho and we're all talking. And I think that what I hear a lot about is that it is just a party and it's so much fun. And, it's something that I used to do with Blakeation. We do still every once in a while. You don't focus on the tournament so much, but you focus on the experience. And that's really what the Run Good Poker Series is. It's about the experience. It's about having fun. It's about going with your friends. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to forget winning the inaugural event. It was it was a great day. It was one of those great moments in my poker career. But I look forward to going to the events, not because I'm thinking, oh, I can't wait to win another, but more, I can't wait to hang out. I can't wait to have fun. And so for people who haven't experienced a Run Good Poker Series, you definitely should. It's a great event, lower buy-ins, but the main event, significant money. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars, and you're not going to rip up the check if you win. Trust me. So definitely great series. Testament to you, Tana, for doing such a great job, and so many people compliment you with regards to it. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Tana about the return of poker for the Run Good Poker Series in 2021, and also a little of what he did in this COVID pandemic year and kind of what the future outlook will be when we return here on the 14th anniversary month of the Bernard Lee Poker Show.